Road at the intersection of New Road. And it is a review of a rezoning and site plan for 37.52 acres zoned AR1 with proposed zoning of MR for the construction of 108 single-family residential condominium community. Just so anybody that's on the phone knows, there will be public comment period at the end of this application. So with that, I'm going to have Sam let us know who's on the phone from the state agencies, and then Ring will turn it over to you to give us an overview.
All right, so online with us today we have Stephen Mayer, Anna Marie Fermato, and Austin Gray from DelDOT. In the room we have Nicole Carey from DEMA. We have Carlton Hall from State Historic Preservation Office, Beth Crumrine from DENREC, and John Rudd from the State Fire Marshal's Office.
Okay, and just so you know, Ring, we do have a gentleman here that represents the applicant. I'm going to let him go ahead and introduce himself. You can't see him on the screen, so I'm going to let him introduce himself. Go ahead.
Yeah, Ken Latch. I am an owner's representative. My mother-in-law is a 50% ownership interest in the property.
Okay, so with that, Ring, it's all yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ring Larden with Davis Bond Friedel. I plan to keep this short. I know you guys have had a very long day since I was just with you about 3 hours ago or more. So the piece of the property is located along Lighthouse Road. This project may have previously been reviewed by Plus and or Sussex County before. I'm not sure if it actually got formally submitted to the county, but I have seen plans of this property before. And so I'm not entirely sure if it was reviewed, so just wanted to throw it out there just in case it had been. As you had mentioned, the request is to rezone the property from AR1 to MR, and then we will submitting a conditional use to allow the construction of 108 single-family homes in a condominium community. In addition, we are proposing a small pool house and pool for active recreation near the wooded wetlands. A wetland delineation has been performed. We are in the process of preparing the delineation and then submitting the JD request to the Army Corps of Engineers and DENREC. The proposed entrance, as requested by DelDOT, will align with New Road. We are aware of another project along New Road, and both projects will work together as New Road will need to be improved either as part of their project or now as part of our entrance improvements. So that'll be an ongoing conversation. We did meet with DelDOT, I forget the exact date, and they agreed as part of that TIS scoping process that we are eligible, and they've agreed to allow us to pay an area-wide study fee for this project. We will comply with all the other DelDOT design requirements. The site does contain tax ditches, and we are proposing to realign some of those tax ditches. They will be prepared and submitted as part of the SED review process and as part of the agreement they have with the drainage section for that process. The site is located within the 100-year floodplain, more towards the back of the site, and will be developed in accordance with the Sussex County Code. Water will be provided by Artesian, and we will connect to their system and provide hydrants in accordance with the regulations. It's 800 foot on center as of the current regs. And finally, sanitary sewer will be provided by Sussex County. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have of me.
Okay, are there any questions of Ring before we get started on comments?
This is Beth Crumrine. I wanted to just address the forest removal. The 2017 aerial imagery shows forested areas within lots 79 to 92, but the application states new forest removal. Are you removing trees? I assume yes.
We are, Beth. That just may have been whatever I was looking at didn't show the trees at the time. I'm not sure why, but that'd be my error. But yes, we will be removing those trees.
All right. Thank you. I just wanted the clarification. That's all.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Oh,
They're from that on the screen,
okay.
but hopefully,
Okay. All right, so if we'll go ahead and get started with state agency comments. So this project is in a level 3 according to the 2020 strategy, state policies and spending. Investment level 3 reflects where growth is anticipated by local, county, and state plans in a longer term future, or it could be areas that have environmental or other constraints to development. State investments may support future growth in this area, but please be advised the state would have other priorities in the near future. And as we move through with state agency comments, if there are environmental restraints on this property, then you can expect that the letter will ask that the applicant work with state agencies to preserve or mitigate those environmental features and help to create a more sustainable development. So I'll turn it over to the individual state agencies, and we'll start with DelDOT. Steve?
Thank you, Dorothy. Good afternoon, everyone. Ring, hello. I don't have too much to offer you, mainly because you were very thorough in your presentation and opening. There's a few detailed notes, small scale stuff. I think it'll be easier just to send that in writing. Please continue to work the process with us. We'll work with you along the way. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Beth?
Thank you. So it sounds like you guys are on top of it with all the requirements needed for the wetlands. We will just confirm all of that in writing. Oops, sorry. Isn't this fun? I love this. Okay. You were hearing phones ringing in the background and I'm trying to mute it. So you're good on wetland permitting. In terms of the buffer, DNREC reviewers recommend a 100-foot buffer instead of a 30. You did mention removal of forest. Do note that there's a possibility this may be mature forest, so we recommend that a forest assessment being conducted for the site, as some of the forest cover has possibly been present since the 1937 aerial photos. The eastern half of the site is subject to inundation beginning at the 5-foot sea level rise area, just something to be aware of. And in terms of special flood hazard areas, the eastern third of the site is within the flood zone. Homes are proposed within the flood zone. So we're going to have some written comments relating to that. And either, are you guys planning on elevating?
Unlikely, we're early in the design, so we'll probably elevate the roads and the houses so they'll be out of the floodplain. But that'll be determined during design, and we'll include that in our plus response. I don't think we're gonna go the piling route. I think we're gonna go with grade changes, and we'll work. We may go through the letter of map amendment process again. We really haven't gotten into that whole finalization yet.
Sounds good. And the other thing is we didn't see any stormwater management. I imagine this is such a preliminary plan. Any thoughts on how you're going to address it? I think I saw a lot of de-soils.
There is, might be a series of wet ponds. Of course, we got the tax ditches that have some capacity. That's something we'll have to work with SCD on what practices make the most sense. What's the groundwater table? So still in the infancy, but those are the ones that come quickly to mind. But that'll be determined again. Should Sussex County approve the plan and we get in that level of detail.
Perfect. You're aware of the tax ditches. Court order change is going to be needed to reroute the tax ditches. We will include the proper form, but if you're already in contact with the conservation district, they have a process in place for that. And really, you probably already know this, but we're looking at lots 10, 101, 155, 96, 29, 58, and 64.
Yes, ma'am.
You probably already know this, but this particular site has the potential to displace local wildlife. And from the perspective of the NREC Division of Fish and Wildlife, removing forested habitat, especially mature forests, should be avoided to the greatest extent possible. Mosquitoes will possibly also be problematic to residents, and we will include some recommendations on that. In addition, in our final written recommendations, we will include sustainability options for EV-ready garages and solar. And that's
Yes,
all
ma'am.
from DNREC.
Thanks, Beth.
Thanks, Ring.
Thank you, Beth. State Farm Marshal's Office, John?
Good afternoon, Ring.
Hey, John.
Looks generally fine. Again, same old comments. We just recommend residential fire sprinkler systems. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Carlton?
Several historic structures and archaeological sites have been identified within the project area, as well as within parcels adjacent to the project area. While not all of these resources are still standing, the potential for historic archaeological resources associated with these structures is high. Therefore, the potential for historic archaeological resources is high. Soils across the majority of the project area are moderately well-drained to well-drained. These factors, in conjunction with the minimal disturbance, indicate an increased potential for pre-contact archaeological resources. The Delaware State Historic Preservation Office recommends that the owners or developers have a qualified archaeological consultant to investigate the project area for the presence of archaeological resources prior to any ground disturbance activity. That's all for us. That's it.
Thank you very much. Nicole?
Thanks, Carlton.
All right. The north and west side of the parcel is located within an area of minimal flood concern of 1,000 years or greater. The middle section of the parcel is within a 0.2% flood concern for 500 years area, and the southeastern point and tip of the parcel reflects a 1% flood concern for 100 years. The parcel is, as we know, in Sussex County Evacuation Zone A, and not located in the Salem Nuclear Power Plant 10-mile EPZ zone. The population density of 250,247 persons per square mile based on the U.S. 2020 Census report, an increase from 2010 at 208.9 persons per square mile. This census block, the project is located on, has a total population of 21, though with development this will undoubtedly change. The adjacent block aggregate bring the area to a total population of 796. According to FEMA's National Risk Index, the parcel is considered relatively high for overall natural hazard risk. Its community resilience and social vulnerability are rated as relatively moderate. And my only other comment that Beth also already touched on was just going to be if there was any mitigation efforts in terms of the elevation of homes.
Thank you very much. Are there any state agencies that I missed? Anybody have any other comments? Okay, seeing none. We have Mike on the phone from Sussex County. Michael, do you have comments?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Morris. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Ring.
Hey, Michael.
Bear with me. Yes, the parcels are currently zoned AR1. They're proposing changes in from AR to MR in order to accommodate the proposed condominiums, as well as amenity features, stormwater management, and internal roads. The density proposed density of 2.9 dwelling units per acre does comply with county codes for this form of residential development in the proposed medium density residential zoning district, which permits up to 4 dwelling units per acre when served by central sewer. In terms of the comp plan, the project lies within the growth area and is categorized as coastal area per the comprehensive plan. Coastal areas are growth areas. The county encourages only the appropriate forms of concentrated new development, especially when environmental features are at play. The coastal area designation is intended to recognize characteristics of both anticipated growth and ecologically important and sensitive characteristics. I would note the medium density residential zoning district is listed as an applicable zoning district within the coastal area, according to table 4.5-2 in the comp plan. And the plan also does note a range of housing types should be permitted in coastal areas, including single family, townhouses, multifamily. In terms of open space, plan proposes includes 6 acres out of a total of 37.52, which equates to 16% of the project site. This complies with code requirements, which require a minimum of 10% open space for densities of 2 to 5 dwelling units. In terms of interconnectivity, just note that the staff desired to see interconnectivity between proposed developments in order to promote only one-way in, one-way out access in the event of an emergency. We recommend the applicant consider incorporating connections to future developments on adjacent parcels fronting on Lighthouse Road in the design. We note that the project is not within the Henlopen TID. We note that it is located within the vicinity of parcels which appear to be actively farmed. Please include on any plans the agricultural use protection notices located in county code. Again, with forested areas, we note that there are presently 9 acres and that 0 are proposed to be removed. Therefore, it's retaining it all. Staff appreciate efforts to conserve as many mature trees as possible on project
And
site.
Michael,
Yes.
just a correction, that was wrong in the plus. We are removing the trees, just to clarify that.
Oh, you are remove all 9 acres.
Not all 9 acres, but we are removing some trees, so they're not all being preserved.
Okay, all right. Well,
And we will delineate that on the prelim plan, just to clarify that for the record, that's all.
Understood. And as I said, staff appreciate the efforts to conserve as many mature trees as possible. And then in terms of the wetland and waterways on the site, we note that the 1 acre non-tidal wetland is denoted in the plan. Just note the wetland buffer requirements under Sussex County Code were recently updated, and additionally, code requires established natural forests and non-forest meadows predominated by non-invasive species shall be retained within any buffer areas, and any proposed plan for the site will be required to meet all the wetland buffer standards included in code. Additionally, staff noted the tax ditches and just reiterate that any change to the right of way for the tax ditches requires the court order change. And then finally, we just noted that it is in X.2 and AE flood zones, and this is accurate according to the data available to the county. And we note that it is in an area of fair groundwater recharge according to county data. And we noted that it was not in a wellhead protection area. Sussex Engineering simply forwarded the proposed project is located within a Tier 1 area of the Unified Sanitary Sewer District, and connection to the sewer system is mandatory. And they noted a use of existing infrastructure agreement is required for new projects, and a proposed development will require a developer installed collection system in accordance with county codes, standards and procedures. One time, and full comments will be in the letter, as well as contact for the utility permitting department. And finally, community development and housing did have comments for this application as well, and they noted that the applicant can consult the affordable housing policy on the county website, and other resources are also available there for the referring to the county's affordable and fair housing resource website. And the details regarding financial support, incentives, federal and state and county, as well as private funding is on there. And they also wanted us to note the new workforce housing ordinance is available that for increased density for 25% of total units for affordable rentals. So, and all of those full comments will be in the letter as well. That's everything from county. Thank you.
Thank you. And I appreciate your comments. I did forget to mention that it is in the coastal area, so therefore no rezoning or no comprehensive plan amendment would be required by the county. So thank you for that. You did mention that. I just want to state that there are a couple agencies that cannot be here today. Their comments will be in the final letter. I do note that it is adjacent to an ag district, so I'm sure that Department of Ag will have a comment in the final letter. And any other state agencies that have comments that aren't here today, you can expect them in the final letter. Are there any other questions or comments from state agencies, from the county, or from the applicants before I move on to public comment? Okay, seeing none, is there anyone on the line that would like to make a public comment? Okay, seeing no one, we will move forward with this. Thank you for coming in. Comments will be sent back into us, and then the final letter will be to you on or before March the 22nd. So if you have any questions or need me for anything between now and then, just shoot me an email or give me a call.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody.